Okay. All right. So, and I'm going to say it anyways. You guys, nobody's showing up here, but me and Doug are going to do it anyway. Doug took some time out of his day to show up here, so shame on the rest of you. We're gonna record it and put up his cool ass homebrew stuff that he's building. And Doug is a WE6Z. That right, Doug?
Correct,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. And he's got some homebrew stuff he's been working on. I've seen some pictures on the Facebook page. And you're in California, right?
Yes, not too far from Sacramento, California.
Oh, okay. You're not too far from. Have we ever even chatted on AM or anything on the air?
I don't know. I haven't been on AM too much. I want to make my grand appearance by using my homebrew rig here.
I gotcha. No, I totally get that. Okay, okay. Um, and let's see a couple things. I kind of want to ask. I'm trying to set up, like kind of a fun interview for everybody. Um, so before we get into the whole project, are you retired? Do you work for a living? What do you do, Doug? Or what don't you
I'm Yeah, well, let me switch the camera here. So, I am a computer tech at a school district.
do?
I'm definitely working. I hopefully I'll retire in the year 2043, so I've got quite a few more years on the job to go. But ham radio's been my hobby for a long time. I got my technician license in somewhere around 1994 or 95, something like that. And definitely interested in building antennas and building radios and all kinds of fun stuff. Only in the last about 10 years have I got into tube radios. And you know how it goes. Once you start collecting one or two, you end up with 10 or 50.
Mm-hmm. It
So you
gets a
can
little
probably
crazy.
see in the picture behind me right there,
Nice.
SX42, 75A3, Super Pro 600, and R390A right there. So that's just one small part of the collection.
Well, that's really cool. I muted myself, so I gotta. Anyways, I like it. I like that console setup you built there. That is nice.
Yeah, it's actually a let me move this there. It's a angled face rack. I got it from another ham estate, and it fits a lot of boat anchors in there.
Yeah, very nice. I've seen guys' shacks, I'm sure you have too, that like the whole thing is like they got the whole angled setup all the way down this big long room. I said, man, that would be really cool, but I don't have the room for it here. Mine's kind of just two
Yeah.
by fours, and it's definitely a shack looking situation, but it's fine with me. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. So, anyways, all right. Well, let's get to the good stuff. So, um,
Yeah.
let's see. I'm gonna let you hang on a second. Let me give you everything here. Hang on. I am gonna put you as host here for a minute. Okay, so you'll
Okay.
have the whole thing.
Okay. Let me switch the camera here. Okay. I think can you see mine now?
Yeah, looks good.
Okay, so this is the Homebrew 813 transmitter that I'm building. And I've got this blue tape on the face to protect it while I was drilling all the holes and trying to align the knobs and everything here. So this is the Pi network output right here, plate and load and inductance, and then some extra switchable capacitance in here for the output. And then I've got a band switch here, CW key, power indicator light, and power switch. And then we'll come up and look at it from the top side here. So here's the 813 tube. a filament transformer, a fan to blow air across it, and here's the Pi network right here, and the extra loading coil for 160 and 80 meters. And I found this nice face plate here that had all the holes already drilled for the meters, because hand drilling holes for meters and getting those perfect is very difficult. So I found this Motorola panel, and I'm recycling some of the Motorola meters. It's going to be exciter current, and then grid current and screen current, plate current, and then this is actually RF ammeter, so it can give you a general indication of how much power. And let's see, we'll turn it on and see some tube glow here. There, and then turn on the power supply here. So I have voltage regulators for the oscillator section, which is a 6AG7, and then the 813. So the project is about 50% done. I've got most of the major components mounted and where they need to be. I haven't wired up anything besides the filaments on the 813 yet. But to test, I hooked up the 6AG7 to the Pi network, and to test to make sure its output was enough to drive the 813 tube. So if we look over here on the scope and I press the key, there's a nice sine wave, and it's 37 volts peak to peak, which works out to about 3.5 watts. And according to the 813 tube manual, that should actually do it. It needs about 2.9 watts of drive to drive it at 1250 volts or so. So I'm pretty sure that's going to work. So the next part of the process is hooking up the 813 and changing it so that the 6AG7 will drive the 813, and then doing a lot more testing and a few more drilling of some holes here. So that's pretty much the radio itself, and I'm using a 13 by 17 by 4-inch chassis. And even that, it's fairly crowded underneath. It was, fabrication always takes about 90% of the time in the whole project. Then the rest is troubleshooting. And one unique thing I've done with this is I'm using an Arduino with an SI5351 DDS VFO. So I don't have it mounted yet, but there'll be an LCD display somewhere about right here, and a rotary encoder to change the frequency. So that little SI5351 puts out about 3 volts peak to peak, drives the 6AG7, and that will drive the 813, and looking for somewhere in the 150 to 170 watts of output area. So that's the transmitter. And then if a little bit more on the tour of the shack, here's a little bit closer view of one of my racks of boat anchors here. And then I have a few more in this rack. I've got a bunch of stuff in front of it, obviously. I've got a 51J4 Collins and a NC183MR down there. And then coming over to one of the main operating positions, I have a Yaesu FTDX101MP and some monitors, Elecraft K3, and then the station controlling rotor controller, stepper controller, digital watt meter. And then and then the amplifier here is an Alpha 87A. And then this is a shared station here. I also have my friend's Flex 8400, which is down below the table here. And then also the PGXL amplifier to go with that. So the antennas outside are a Stepper DB18E and a 160-meter vertical that's about 90 feet tall. So that's pretty much the shack over here.
That is very nice. Very nice. Let's see. All the new stuff, that's top of the line stuff, the SDRs and the stepper antenna. That's cool stuff, Doug. I'm sure you can talk around the world all the time. And what antenna rotor control box is that? What rotor are you using? Using one of those fancy M squared deals, or what are you using there?
I am using an Alpha Spid RAK, and it's a double worm drive gear motor type of rotor. It's actually a DC powered one also. And the reason why is because the Stepper DB18E is such a heavy antenna. It's 40 feet, its elements are 40 feet wide. I think it has an 18-foot boom, but there's so much wind force up there that it typically will break even like the Yaesu 2800 rotors. So I bought that Alpha Spid, and it has been doing pretty well.
Nice. Okay, so back to the good
Oh,
stuff there for a second. Let
yeah.
me I don't know how I do this here. Hang on a second.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to try to switch to orientation here.
Okay. All right. I reclaim the host there. So when you go, we go, you go. Um okay, so on the 813, um where did you get where'd you get the idea? Did you get it out of a an old handbook? How'd you get, how'd you figure, well, let me even step back once more. It's really nice. The setup is nice inside there. It's clean, it's well thought out, and I know cutting those panels, forget it. I mean,
Yeah.
I uh I put together a switch panel, just instead of having switches, just to have panel jumpers that you can see next to me here. And I didn't even want to cut that out. And I use the keystone, the square deals for the keystones, and put the
Hmm.
BNCs in it, which kind of a pain in the butt, but they do work fine. And so I just bought a pre-made cut panel off of eBay. So yeah, you found that Motorola thing, that's going to look nice when you get that all done. The DDS, that is the way to go. I was going to do that on my broadcast transmitter, but I'm running it from the VFO with a JST 245 Japan Radio Corporation rig, and it seems to work fine. But maybe one of these days I'll switch it out to a DDS VFO, because I got an old CB that has that SI, oh, whatever the hell the same thing you're talking about, that I
Yeah.
modified and put in the CB, took all the PLL stuff out, and it's like a 10-meter rig. You can do 11 meters still, even 12 meter, whatever you want, but the electronics only will handle so much, so much where you turn it.
Bandwidth. Yeah.
Yeah, bandwidth. So anyways, back to it. Where'd you get the kind of the project idea from? Did you do it from your head? Did you get it from somebody? What'd you do?
Okay, so basically, it is cobbled together from a couple different designs, but the main design is from this article, a 200-watt transmitter for 160 and 80 meters, which is in the 1954 ARRL handbook.
That's
And
cool.
I looked at the schematic of what I had and what I wanted. And basically, this one uses two 6AG7 tubes and then the 813. Now, they have some sort of link coupled output, which I didn't really want to design and build. So, what I did was I went with a different article in the same genre of a 500-watt Pi network output um, uh, 813 transmitter. And I found that one, it's Pi network, and I just basically copied because it still has the exact same, output tube, but it has a Pi network instead. So I took the Pi network section from another 1954 QST article, and I'm just using that part for my transmitter.
Okay. Okay. And where did you have you always kind of tinker with electronics? I know I used to be a computer tech, had a business here and stuff. I don't do it anymore, but um, where did you learn how to do all this stuff?
Well, I definitely have been interested in electronics for a long time. So I took some classes in college and then went, of course, the computer science route. Um, but I had an Elmer who helped me with a bunch of tube stuff. He gave me his collection of tubes and said, have fun. And then the first project we built was a one tube transmitter using a single 6CL6 tube. And it put out about 4 watts. And we built that on a little 9 by 9 baking pan. We built it old school. So he showed me how to do that, and that kind of got me hooked on. Oh, well, tubes are everything is large and it's not microscopic and surface mount. So I've definitely been enjoying working on tube circuitry because it's simple and everything is big.
Right. Right. Yeah. It is good because good to see somebody else that's kind of gotten into it and is actually building something because well, I shouldn't say old crusty guys, but a lot of these old timers are I've heard so many times we got nobody new in the hobby, doing anything. Well, you and I are you're probably a little bit younger than me, but um you know there's a example of somebody that is doing some stuff that isn't 80 years old. So, uh,
Yeah, and so and that is the thing is there aren't a lot of people who are building anymore, but a friend gave me his collection of parts and pieces and said, have fun. And so I have built the one tube transmitter, and then I built a novice 75-watt transmitter with a 1625 tube, and then I built a smaller novice two tube transmitter, which still was only like at the 5 watt range, using I think a 6AQ5 or something like that. Most all designs out of the ARRL handbooks. I like to build something that people have built before and they've already worked out a lot of those kinks. Because sometimes when you design something from scratch and then put it together and you get an unexpected result, it is so difficult to troubleshoot. But if you built something that is out of the handbook, 50 or 100 or 1,000 people have already built it, and there might even be a YouTube or an article on saying, oh, you got to make sure to put this shielding in, or yeah, the book says you want a 2.5 millihenry choke there, but I would say, it needs to be more, etc.
right,
So a lot
right.
of those things are already worked out. So that's why I'm going with more of a proven design so that there's a good chance of it working. First shot. And, of course, you got to double check the wiring, stuff like that. But
Oh
uh,
yeah,
yeah. So
that's great, man. I mean,
definitely enjoyed building tube stuff. So
have you
this is
run into any problems getting any parts you needed? Kind of the big internet search for something you needed special?
yes. Excuse me.
Because I have,
Um,
I've been there.
this I had pretty much all of the parts for this. I did order some special mega ohm resistors at that 2 and 3 watts and stuff like that. And I ordered a plate capacitor. So a couple things that I've ordered that, to make sure I have a modern replacement part because yeah, I have some of those big ceramic ones that are orange in color, an inch and a half long, but they are from the 1920s, so I don't know if I'm going to trust the part that's 100 years old. So I am building a modulator, but I got to finish this first. But the modulator is going to use an ART13 modulation transformer.
Okay.
So I was able to score one of those on eBay for a decent price.
Cool.
And it tests good, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah.
The next thing I'll have to find, I think I'll need a driver transformer between the driving tube and the pair of 811As. So that will be another transformer I kind of have to look around for.
Yeah. Yeah. Look up that's kind of like well, that wouldn't be the same thing. I was thinking you had it's an 813, not a 4400, because the Johnson 500's got the 811s modulating a 4400, but it's got to be, it's got to be similar. You should look up that schematic and see if it gives you any ideas on that setup. But it might help you a little bit. I don't know. So
Yeah.
four
So
four
I'm
four
not
hundred's
worried.
a little bit different, but it's
Yeah,
still,
I'm not too worried about the modulator yet because I want to make sure this project
yeah.
works. And, if I can get, 150 watts CW out of this, I'll be pretty dang happy.
Oh
And
yeah.
then I'll start on the modulator.
Yeah.
I
See,
have,
you're doing it smart, and you just stick to one thing and finish up. A lot of guys will start skipping around, and then next thing you know, it's a silent key estate. Because it never
well,
gets
yeah,
done. It never gets done. So it's kind of
exactly.
like,
Of building all these projects, I've gotten into the habit of, okay, build one piece at a time, build one section, try to make it as modular as possible, test each section because I did build one project where I built the whole radio and then decided to test it at the end,
oh
and there nothing.
yeah,
It drew current, but it didn't output any RF,
yeah.
and it was
At
nearly
least it didn't light on
impossible to
fire.
troubleshoot. Oh yes, yeah. So anyway, that's why I've built the oscillator section first and actually tested it by hooking it to the Pi network to verify it's outputting power,
Yeah. See.
and then disconnect it. Then I have to um, rebuild an LC trap basically between it and the 813. That will be one of the next stages.
Okay. So anybody who's watching this, uh, take all those words that Doug is saying to heart, because he knows he's built a lot of stuff, and do one thing, finish it, test it again, then move on to the next thing. So yeah, plan it out. If you're building something, plan it out right, and kind of make a little goal sheet and just follow the steps A, B, C, D, and don't jump to Z, or else you might have a fire.
Yeah, well, you get to the end and then it doesn't work at all, and then you have to
Yeah.
go all the way backwards and
Yeah. And the
yeah,
thing about doing it
redesign.
that way, that's how you're supposed to do it. By the time you're done with whatever you're building, if you ever have a problem with that thing, you know absolutely every in and out of that machine that you just built, and you can troubleshoot and repair it better than anybody. It's
Correct.
what resistor, you might not know every little component value, but you got a pretty damn good idea what the heck just blew up or what went wrong and what I need to fix to get it back on the air. So very nice stuff, Doug. Very nice.
Thank you.
So I think that people we ran about 30 minutes there, so that's plenty of time. Doug, thank you for doing this again. Doug, check out his QRZ page too, guys. WE6Z. You can see some of the stuff, his station, and some of the stuff he's built and stuff like that. So check that out. And I'm sure Doug will be around showing us some of his other stuff that he's doing, maybe the modulator, or how he's coming along with the transmitter. And I can't wait to talk to you on the air with that thing. That'll be really cool.
Yeah, I can't wait to get it on the air as well.
So, and it's good looking, especially after you get all that tape and stuff. Are you gonna do a paint scheme? Have you done any thought about that, or what do you think?
I have not. I think I'm gonna leave it the regular aluminum color, and then I have a label printer. Print the labels above each control.
Right. Yeah, that works. That's kind of probably what I would do. So I don't do, I can't say that I homebrewed a lot of stuff. Mostly, excuse me, antennas, and I'm more of a troubleshooting break and fix kind of guy. I thought
Mhm.
about, building a transmitter, but I'm more of, oh yeah, I got this Bauer 707 in, let's convert it over to 4075 and 160 and figure out how to do that. That sort of thing I've, done, or BC 610, something smoked on that. I got to fix it, but I've never really built from scratch. So that's pretty cool. Maybe I have to get my butt going and do something like that. So that'd be kind of
Yeah,
cool.
it
I think,
always takes longer than you think, but
yeah,
it's definitely rewarding in the end.
yeah, no doubt. Okay, well, let me stop the recording here.